Hello and welcome to this tutorial on this ABRSM Grade 7 piece from the new syllabus 2023-2024, just been released, hot off the press. It's called At the Evening Window by Jan Freidlin. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce his name. It's from List B, it's the second piece. It's really difficult, in my opinion, for Grade 7. I mean, the notes aren't too bad, but musically it's really tricky to interpret. Now, I have made a performance that I've put on YouTube, and there is a link to it in the description below. There are links above at the beginning and at the end of the video. But, you know, I basically wanted to put up quite a lot of performances and quite a lot of tutorials in the short amount of time. And I'm not fully happy with the version of this that I put up. There's more I would have wanted to do with it. But to be fair, I think when I listened to the official ABRSM version, it's good. But I think that pianist also probably could have taken it further, because it takes quite a bit of time, I think, to get to know this. Now, it's kind of a difficult language, harmonic language, for the ear to get straight away. But what I recommend doing, I recommend taking some time with this to get to know what it's doing in the beginning. So rather than just learning all the notes, you know, that's quite complicated harmonic language. What I recommend doing is, and I'm presuming that you've got a reasonable level of harmonic understanding. If you don't, find a teacher who you can do this with, because I think this piece kind of needs this. We want to know what are the harmonies in each bar, like the simple triadic harmonies, because really this can be boiled down to very simple chords. So for example, what is the chord here? Now, to me, speaking as a jazz musician, it's really like, well, I'm not a jazz, I'm a jazz musician as well as a classical musician. But to me, this is basically an E flat major chord. The first bar is like an E flat major chord. It has the major seventh in the melody, but it's in first inversion, so the G is in the bass. And then you have what jazz people call the ninth, or the second. So this, to me, just sounds like, but over G, and with an F. So really, it's just E flat major. And lo and behold, E flat major is the key signature. And then what happens in the second bar? So we've got the first bar is, and then this. What's that? Well, to me, that seems quite obvious that it is the dominant. It is B flat dominant 7. So we've got, but instead of having B flat in the bass, we have F in the bass, and we only have the B flat at the top. So so we've got, and then here. But it's really obvious. It is a B flat dominant 7, and here we have the fourth, we have the second, which resolves to the 3. So it's like a suspension that resolves. So basically we have E flat major, B flat dominant 7, which is the dominant of E flat, and then we go back to E flat major, and then we have the subdominant. With quite jazzy chords. You've got the 7th, you've got the 9th, or the 2nd, the 7th and then the 9th, and so on and so on. So I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I do really recommend that all the first line is, it's basically tonic, dominant, tonic, subdominant. But it sounds a lot more complicated than that. Oh, sorry. So another way to look at it is we're looking for appoggiaturas. And appoggiatura is just basically a fancy way of saying whatever your chord is. So let's say you're in E flat major. You have the three chord tones. Your chord tones are E flat, G and B flat. They're the notes of your E flat major triad. Now, if I was to play an A flat that then goes to the G, that is an appoggiatura because you have a non-chord tone which then resolves to a chord tone. So here, you've got an appoggiatura of this F, which is a non-chord tone, which is waiting to resolve to the E flat, except it's a delayed resolution because it does go to the E flat, but only once you've changed chord. But basically that F, it's an appoggiatura, and this F gives you tension because it's waiting to resolve to the E flat. By the way, I recommend having a copy of this open in front of you so that you can follow everything that I'm saying. So, appoggiatura, and now it's resolved to the E flat. But now it's resolved to the E flat, it's kind of too late. And now this has become like an appoggiatura because it wants to resolve to the chord tone, which is the B. But it circles and it does an enclosure around the D until it resolves onto the D. So, you know, I find it's helpful. This might be a bit overwhelming in terms of explaining. It's kind of really beyond the scope of a very, very short YouTube tutorial. I'm basically just trying to whet your appetite that you might want to find a teacher that will help you with this. I am available for online lessons because it really will help. When I was learning this in a very short amount of time, it's really useful for me to really be aware of this note wants to resolve. It's resolved. Oh, but it's too late because now now it's resolved. And here we have an appoggiatura. The F is the second degree of E flat. And now it's resolved. And here we've got, for the first time, a nice neat triad. And then we've got the major seventh built on the subdominant. It's basically, it's a complicated piece because to do this in every single bar would take some time, which is why it took me a while to kind of really feel and really get that I felt deeply what was going on in every single bar. So there's a lot of counterpoint in this, and I think that in general grade 7 pieces have a lot of counterpoint in them. Sort of think like Bach fugues, sort of, it's not quite like a Bach fugue, but it does have a lot of counterpoint. So something you might want to experiment with is just look for the counterpoints and just play those. So something like, what does it do? And then you have a new part that comes in. Now I'm playing the bass part. So, you know, it's not that doesn't sound riveting, but you want to be aware that when you are playing this, the whole thing, that you do hear all those separate lines. So one way of doing this is to be able to sing. I've been singing it very badly in some of the other videos. You want to be able to sing all your different parts. So as well as being able to sing the melody, let me see if it's too high for me. Now I do recommend that when you're at home, try and sing it in the right octave, even if you're male and you literally can't sing that high, because when you're playing, you want to imagine that you are singing that line. You want to almost feel it in your vocal cords. So then, as I'm playing that, I'm going to this time sing what's really the tenor line, and the tenor line is the upper part of the left hand. So let's say, dum, dum, da, da, dum, da, that's hard. Dum, dum, da, dum, dum, da, dum, da, dum, dum. This is why it's a hard piece, because I'm usually pretty good at singing like various counterpoints and harmonies. But because of the harmonic language of this, it's quite contemporary, and I find it hard to be able to sing all the inner parts, which is why it would take me a while to learn it, and learn it to the point where I can, in my imagination, really just hear every single inner line. So I just demonstrated to you, I can't do that yet with this, and that's why I feel like it's not quite ready yet to perform. Because they're unusual harmonies. It's not usual sort of, you know, Baroque, classical, romantic era harmony. Anyway, so I think it needs to go a little bit faster when it gets to bar 23, the poco animato section. Nice little counter melody there. I don't mind slowing down a little bit here, even though it doesn't say slow down, but from here, push forwards. Now, I spent quite a while trying to figure out, what is this piece about? Because we never just want to play notes. We never just want to be like, am I playing the correct notes? I am playing the correct notes. I can play this piece. And so, yeah, it says at the evening window, but that doesn't give us a lot of insight as to what this piece is about. Now, for me, I think this section that we were just going from bar 28, this is the key for me of, I think, understanding the piece. It's like reaching, stretching. We've got quite big intervals. And it's going up, it's up. I mean, I really feel almost like I can feel a physical stretching and yearning, and it's like a desire for something beyond your reach. And here, big stretch, big reach, big stretch. Left hand, big stretch. Another big reach. Left hand, another big stretch. And now we've been stretching and reaching, and now we're filled with longing and yearning. And we've got more stretching again. Another big stretch. But now we're like, oh, I can't have it. It's like, and there's a sadness that the thing we've been stretching and reaching and yearning for, we can't have it. We're coming back to earth and going, oh, I can't have it. And like, for me, my temptation is to slow down when I get to bar 44. This sadness. But I tried to do really, I think, what is more what the composer wanted, which is to keep pushing, even though I really want to milk it a little bit from bar 44. But I think that what you want, what I hear, what I want to do is but it now only says writ. So I think you can play it the way that I played it, but I think there's also a case to be said for the way the composer wants it, which is and now we slow down. But personally, I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame to play it that way. And I'm tempted to put the writ starting from bar 44. But that is up to you. There's a lot to love from bar 44 onwards. So hopefully you can see what I mean about this stretching, this yearning. And so part of what you might want to do, and I wanted to do this, but under the pressure of performing it reasonably quickly, I didn't do this in the performance as much as I'd have liked. But every time you have a reach, every time there's a stretch, you just pause slightly. You have like what's called an agogic accent. Hang on. So there, it's like going from the little finger to the thumb in bar 31. It's a little bit of a stretch. So I'll go from bar 28. And hopefully you could feel my pause before I went there. And it gives this more of an impression of stretching. If you think about singing da da, and when you sing da da, you know that you pause before you go up. So da, da, we're coming down though, so not so much. Now here, there I milk that, because here it's written as a grace note. So really it's written as from bar 33. But no, it's a big stretch. So it's a big reach. So take your time, milk it. And here, milk it. Take your time to get there. Anytime that you've got these big reaches, take your time. And then if we go back to the beginning. It's reasonably content in that first bar. So it's a little bit dissatisfied because of this F wanting to resolve. Okay. And now comes the first clue that we're reaching and stretching for something. And it says slow down. So reach from the B flat to the G. So okay. Reach. Reach, reach. And there's a tension. There's this delicious tension in this yearning and stretching that we're already feeling in bar 3. Oh, I want that. And now we're imagining how sweet it would be to have that thing. Maybe it's love, a person that we're yearning for. I don't know. An ice cream on a hot day. I don't know. Whatever it is. And this is why this is dolcissimo, I think, from bar 5, because we're no longer stretching. It's like, what if we had that thing? You know. Bring out this counter melody in the bass. Here, stretch. Now this is very difficult to interpret. This goes on a little bit too long in my opinion, this wandering about. I'm not really quite sure what it's about, but anyway, experiment with it. Little stretch. Bigger stretch. Stretch with harmonic tension. Very sad harmony. Stretch. Stretch. And then I put both the notes in the right hand here. Stretch. Stretch. And now more stretching. Expanding. Sadness. Very sad. Anyway, I think I've probably covered the most important stuff about this piece, but it's very emotionally deep. It's harmonically complex and it has a lot of counterpoint in it. And this is not a straightforward piece for grade 7 ABRSM. I think you'll either very brave for doing this, or you're very, very emotionally deep and able to communicate these deep emotions musically. Or you have a good teacher, like me. I am available for lessons. In all seriousness, I actually do teach online and have room for new students at the moment. If you like my teaching style, do get in touch. You can get in touch through heartofthepiano.com, where I have a podcast. And on that podcast, I have just reviewed this new ABRSM syllabus. If you would like to hear the full review of all of the books for this new syllabus, I think it's a very, very good syllabus this time around. Anyway, yes, if you enjoyed this video, if it was useful, please do all the usual YouTube blah, 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 like, subscribe, leave comments, and thank you very much for listening and watching all the way through to the end. I will let you go and do some practicing now. Thank you very much, and see you for the next tutorial. Bye.